Hi viewers, good day. Welcome to vSparks. Today we are going to see the architecture of Kubernetes and the various components involved in the Kubernetes cluster. If you like this video, please subscribe to vSparks channel and click the bell icon for the latest updates. This is the agenda of this video. We are going to discuss on these topics in this video. We will start from the scratch. What is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an open source orchestration engine which is used to deploy, manage, and automate containerized workloads. It was originally developed by Google and it was donated to Cloud Native Computing Foundation in the year 2015. Why people are going for Kubernetes? And here are the answers. It helps to deploy the application more faster. No need to wait for traditional physical or virtual machines from the infra team to deploy your applications. Kubernetes is much more cost efficient. It is infrastructure agnostic. For example, if you are running your application workloads in the on-prem physical Kubernetes cluster, the same can be moved to the cloud-based managed Kubernetes clusters without any code changes. Create once and you can run anywhere is the concept here. As I said earlier, there are cloud-based managed Kubernetes services which will reduce your burden in managing the infrastructure. Now we will discuss the architecture of Kubernetes. As you all know, Kubernetes is an orchestration engine which is used to run the containerized workloads. This Kubernetes is not a single component. It is a set of nodes that run the containerized workloads. Here the nodes are nothing but the machines, which can be physical or virtual. These set of nodes collectively form a Kubernetes cluster. If you say you are running Kubernetes, then it means you are running a cluster. Kubernetes clusters is comprised of master nodes and the worker nodes. Master nodes are responsible for scheduling, controlling, and managing the cluster itself. It is also called as control plane. The control plane consists of API server, kube controller manager, scheduler, etcd, and the cloud controller manager. This cloud controller manager is an optional component which will be used at the time of using the cloud-based Kubernetes clusters. On the other hand, worker nodes are responsible for running the actual workloads or applications in the form of containers. Based on your workloads, you can spin as many as worker nodes as you want. The worker nodes contains kubelet, kube proxy, and a container runtime. This container runtime is used to run the actual containers or the workloads. All the communications in and out of the Kubernetes cluster is governed by the API server. The optional component, so-called Cloud Controller Manager, provides an integration with the cloud service providers. To name some, AWS, Azure, and GCP are the prominent ones. We will discuss these components a bit more in the upcoming slides. First, we will discuss the control plane. The API server. The API server is the front end of the Kubernetes control plane that exposes the Kubernetes API. If you want to interact with the Kubernetes cluster, you have to talk to the API server. The utility that is used to interact with the Kubernetes cluster is called kubectl or kubectl. This API server handles both the external and the internal requests. That is the internal communication between the Kubernetes components as well as the external communication between the Kubernetes cluster and the clients. These communications are only possible with the help of API server. Next is etcd. All the configurations and the information about the state of the Kubernetes cluster will be stored in a etcd database. Of course, etcd is a database. etcd is a fault-tolerant, highly available distributed key-value store database. This etcd is going to be your source of truth. Next is kube scheduler or simply scheduler. Scheduler is simply the process that assigns the newly created pods to the matched nodes, the worker nodes in the cluster. Whenever a new pod is created, for example, if you need to run a pod where the worker node should have at least 2 CPUs and 4 GB of memory, the scheduler understands the resource needs of a pod and then it selects or schedules a node for that pod. In our example, it has selected node number 2. For your information, pods are the smallest object in Kubernetes which encapsulates the containers. If you notice closely, the scheduler has selected a node for that pod, but it hasn't ran the pod in that particular node. Then who is going to run this pod? We will discuss the same in the next slide. It is the controller manager who is going to execute these jobs. Let us see how. In our example, the scheduler has scheduled the pod to the correct node. Now, after scheduling, the controller manager interacts with the API server, which in turn requests the kubelet node agent to create and run the pod. The controller, which is responsible for executing this job of creating a pod, is the job controller. Similarly, we have several other controllers. To name few: node controller, replication controller, ingress controller, deployment controller, etc. Each and every controller has its own duties and properties. Now we will see the worker node components. First is the container runtime. The container runtime is a software that is responsible for running the containers. Docker, Containerd are some of the examples. Kubernetes also supports other OCI compliant runtimes as well, such as Rocket, CRI-O, etc. Next is the kubelet. The kubelet is a tiny agent or application that runs on each node in the cluster and that communicates with the control plane. Kubelet makes sure that the containers are running in a pod. When the control plane needs something to happen in a node, the kubelet executes the action. Primarily, it is the agent for the control planes. Next is the kubeproxy. Kubeproxy is a network proxy for facilitating the Kubernetes networking services. The kubeproxy handles the network communication inside or outside of your cluster. For example, if you want to access the web UI for your container, the kubeproxy routes the user traffic just as shown here. Finally, the add-ons. Add-ons are the additional features available in the Kubernetes cluster. To name some: DNS. Kubernetes Cluster DNS is a DNS server which serves the DNS records for Kubernetes services. Next, Dashboard. Dashboard is a general purpose web-based UI for Kubernetes cluster. Container resource monitoring. The container resource monitoring collects time series metrics from the containers and provides a web UI for exploring the same. This is used predominantly for container monitoring. Cluster level logging. Cluster level logging is responsible for saving container logs to a central log store with a search or browsing interface. Well, that's it for this lecture. This is the summary which we have discussed so far in this video. Thank you from vSparks and thank you for watching this video.